Kevin Chern. Let me get you started here, Kevin. A nice little quick. Tell me when you're ready. The new ethics of legal marketing, right?
I am ready. Well, we all have an idea of why it's important for lawyers to be able to market. It provides greater access to information about legal services, and the more information consumers have about legal services, the better choices that they can make about their lawyer. And obviously, competition brings the cost of legal services down. So this is all rooted in our First Amendment right to engage in free commercial speech. And that's controlled by the Central Hudson decision. If the government alleges that you're engaging in misleading advertising and you're able to disprove that, then the burden shifts to the government to prove that they have a substantial government interest that directly advances the interest in protecting consumers. But the moral of the story is that you want to take care of that in terms of disclaimers rather than putting a blanket ban on speech. So obviously, it's instructive to look at the history. Television advertising starts in 1941. It's not until 1977 that the Bates versus Arizona case opens up the doors for attorneys to start advertising. And, of course, the U.S. Supreme Court has only heard 7 cases since then on attorney ethics in advertising. So you can see that our regulatory system moves a lot more slowly than innovation in other forms of marketing. So obviously, Rule 7.2 regulates attorney advertising. So how is the advertising priced? Well, an attorney can pay for the reasonable cost of advertising, but what is reasonable? Well, the yellow pages are based on last year's distribution. Television ads are based on last month's Nielsen ratings. So the question then is, how seldom can you adjust the cost of the advertising and it still be considered reasonable? Is it just that it's flat fee, or is it reasonable if it's a performance-based pricing model? Now, the impact has been that directories have moved online and preserved their stronghold on the industry on the flat fee year-long contract to pay the same amount regardless of how well your advertising is doing. And, of course, it's preserved the stronghold for the attorneys who were the first in the directories, and it preserved their first-place position no matter how effective the marketing is for everybody else. So along comes Google and the innovation of pay-per-click marketing. You move these slides along a little bit faster. So pay-per-click, or PPC, has been accepted in pretty much every industry across the internet. Of course, legal tends to lag a little bit behind. So the advertising prices are based on performance. So Google was bound to get into this area, but what if Google went ahead and started charging attorneys based on a click-through and then another action on an attorney's site rather than just clicking on the ad? Now, we all know they're never going to do that because attorneys are very poor at converting the traffic they actually drive to the site. But pay-per-click is good because it aligns the interests primarily of the publisher and the attorney. Rather than the publisher charging the attorney a flat fee regardless of performance in a year-long contract, now the publisher actually has to guarantee essentially the performance of the publication. Otherwise, they don't get paid. Now, we've got varying online ad models, and the moral of the entire story is that the innovation in different legal marketing moves at a much faster pace than the regulatory bodies can give guidance regarding compliance with these new models. So, as we like to say in Chicago, the speed of ethics, it's like these slides. Just move too slow. It's like molasses on a Chicago winter night. Essentially, these regulatory bodies, they run in a situation where they rely on the court systems or a disciplinary commission that is, pretty much made up of ad hoc panels that are trying to dictate a regulatory structure that they're not getting any central guidance on. 7.2 was first released in 1983, and some language has been added, but there's really been no change since the advent of 7.2 on the acceptance of pay-per-performance marketing. And here are a bunch of different types of models: email advertising, online legal matching services, attorney rating services, and it goes on. And by the time we have answers to any of these questions with any significant guidance, we're on to the next 5 or 6 different models that are going to affect us on into the future. So just to give you an idea, I obviously don't have time to go into all of these different models, but email communications, we have a little bit of guidance related to email communications, but there are a lot of questions that aren't answered. Like, what if a client submits a request for legal advice through your marketing site and you don't respond to it? A lot of states have not spoken to that. Online legal matching services, it took Legal Match 5 or 6 or 7 years to get through the issues that they had with state regulatory bodies, and there are still open questions like how many lawyers they actually have to disseminate a consumer's request to in order for it to be a matching service. Attorney rating websites. AVO obviously has been fighting a long-standing battle trying to get direction from the state bar associations on a whole slew of open issues. What if a client goes on your profile and puts a testimonial up? There's been a few decisions that come out, but no real guidance on what is acceptable. And of course, group advertising, a subject near and dear to my heart. Can lawyers engage in performance-based advertising models? Can they pool their efforts in order to be more effective and more competitive online? And of course, here we go. A whole new slew of more issues that have been introduced in the last couple of years. And we haven't even gotten through the last set of issues with AVO and Legal Match and Who Can I Sue and all these different models that are coming out. The fact is they're just coming out way too fast. So what do we need to do looking forward? We need to have a comprehensive overhaul of the ethics rules to address attorney advertising in the 21st century. And the system needs to be modified to be able to process not only the issues that are outstanding, but the issues into the future. So one idea, and I leave the question open, is create a central governing body in order to address these issues. Thanks a lot.